Today's update is focused on what's actually changing next in Wuthering Waves, starting with the confirmed quality of life upgrades coming in version 3.2, and then moving straight into the larger systems the developers have already teased for later patches. I'll cover the new storage optimization, why 3.2 is intentionally a lighter, polish-driven update, and how upcoming features like housing, legacy character upgrades, quest replays, endgame skips, and co-op reworks fit into the game's near-term roadmap. This is a practical breakdown of what's coming, what problems each change is meant to solve, and how these updates are likely to affect everyday play rather than just future content drops. The most impactful change in 3.2 is a direct response to the storage problems introduced after the 3.1 update. The client size grew sharply, and for mobile players in particular, that has been a real bottleneck. In 3.2, a new optimization option will allow players to permanently remove one-time video files and story resources that can no longer be replayed. A significant portion of the game's data footprint comes from cutscenes and narrative assets that are only ever viewed once, so deleting those should noticeably reduce install size. A logical next step, and something that would help even more, would be region-based asset removal, where fully completed map areas could be uninstalled and re-downloaded later if needed, which would be especially valuable for players managing tight storage limits. Because of changes like this, it's worth setting expectations properly for 3.2. This update is clearly positioned as an optimization and polish patch rather than a content-heavy release. With the second anniversary approaching, it makes sense that the development focus is currently on stabilizing and refining the core experience before rolling out larger feature expansions. Looking beyond 3.2, one of the most heavily hinted additions is a player housing or dorm system. Ongoing references to furniture assets strongly suggest that customizable living spaces are being prepared. Conceptually, this fits very cleanly with the existing academy themes in the game, and would introduce a long-term, non-combat progression layer that gives players something persistent to build and personalize, making it a natural candidate for a major anniversary feature. At the same time, the developers have confirmed work on a dedicated system for improving legacy characters from the launch era. Although a recent endgame mode was introduced to help older units perform better in specialized scenarios, that approach did not fully address their performance gaps in standard content. The new system is intended to apply direct gameplay upgrades to underperforming characters, with examples including Danjin, Yinlin, Calchero, and Tauki, so that they become meaningfully viable again in regular gameplay rather than only in niche modes. Importantly, this initiative is not limited to combat tuning, since the team also plans to actively reintegrate these characters into future story content, giving them narrative relevance alongside mechanical improvements. Another feature that has been repeatedly requested and is now confirmed to be in development is full quest replay. Wuthering Waves already places a lot of emphasis on cinematic storytelling, and a replay system would allow players to revisit major story chapters and key moments without relying on new accounts or external recordings, which significantly improves long-term value for narrative-focused players. Endgame pacing is also being addressed, particularly for repetitive weekly content, such as the Tower of Adversity. The plan is to expand the auto-skip functionality so that early and low difficulty stages can be bypassed instantly. This reduces time spent clearing trivial floors and shifts the weekly routine toward the stages that actually require active play and team optimization. A smaller but very practical quality of life addition is coming to audio settings. Players will be able to choose which previously released login theme plays on the title screen, effectively letting you rotate or lock in your preferred track rather than being forced into the current patch's default. The largest systemic change teased so far, however, is the co-op overhaul. Multiplayer has seen very little evolution since the early versions of the game, but the new system being built is designed to allow players to bring their full 3-character team into cooperative sessions. Instead of being restricted to a single active character, you will be able to swap freely between your entire roster while playing alongside other players. If implemented as described, this fundamentally changes how team composition and rotations work in multiplayer, and would make cooperative play far closer to the single-player combat experience. Overall, the direction is very consistent. Under Kuro games, the near-term focus is on performance, convenience, and friction reduction, while the medium-term roadmap clearly targets deeper systems, such as housing, legacy character reworks, story replayability, and a more functional co-op structure. If these systems land as outlined, they directly address long-standing usability and progression issues rather than simply adding new content layers on top of existing ones.